to start with, can you find something around you that's some kind of a little thing? It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, it could be just something, a thing, some physical object. Shot in nothing. A
I
pen.
don't know. A pen,
Yes.
yeah,
It could
got
be anything.
plenty.
It could be anything. Okay. So first thing is just take a minute to look around you. You don't have to necessarily look at everything, but just sit here and be here, right here, and imagine that suddenly a child has taken over your body and you're in a space that's unfamiliar to you. And just take in what's there. Doesn't have to be taken. I'm not saying take it all in, but just get interested and curious in a way that you aren't usually in what's around you. And as you're doing that, we're going to do two things. Just is to notice and take it in, and then notice what you're noticing. Oh, I never noticed that before. God, I haven't seen that forever. That needs to be cleaned. Whatever it is, great. Now take that object, whatever it is that you found, and interact with it in a way where you're not assuming, you're trying not to assume too much about it. And maybe instead of seeing the whole thing, you notice the texture, how light plays on it. Maybe the feel of it. Is it soft? Is it hard? Are there moving parts? Now, sometimes there's things in our life that we get really attached to, and then we can't imagine being without them. So think about something in your life that it's hard to imagine being without it. It feels like it's a part of you. Doesn't have to even be something super important. It might be.
Could it be a routine?
We could use that. Could use that. So put your object down. So as you look around the room, as you encounter the object, it's obvious that you are not these things. It's there, it's here, it's not you. There's ways to interact with it that bring in more unknownness, more a sense of not assuming too much, that allow you to interact more in the moment with it. And it's not you. And what you encounter can be different from moment to moment, depending on how you place your attention on it, depending on how willing you are to not just make assumptions. Now, if you came up with something that feels like it's important to you, imagine being without it. Just feel what there is to feel, experience what there is to experience. And just imagine that you put it down, let it go, like you just did with that object. You can still want it, you can still like it, but it's not you. You can live without it. You may not like it, but it's not you. So now come into your body, bring your attention into your body. Just get your body relaxed in a place where it feels supported. And just notice what it feels like, what the experience is like to be in this body. I'm stiff. This hurts. I'm in pain. I'm hot. Just observe the physical sensations that you're having. Maybe the pressure on the seat, how a piece of clothing lays against your skin. Just notice that while there's different things happening, maybe some you weren't aware of before, but now that you're putting attention on it, you notice. And just notice that while you might be experiencing these different things, you are the one who's noticing them. Your body might be having these experiences, which you can notice, which you can become more aware of as you place attention on them. But they're not who you are. You're the one who is experiencing, who's noticing, who's sensing. And allow your sense of yourself to just fall a little bit farther away from being identified with all of this bodily, physical experience. Beautiful. And then just notice in your experience if there's anything that feels like it's of an emotional nature. There may or may not be. Emotions are largely felt physically. Our body gives us the experience of emotion. We feel it. It's feeling because our body feels it. But just notice if there's any emotional content in your experience. Doesn't have to be negative. Not trying to change it. You might feel whatever. Just notice that you are the one who is noticing it. Just letting whatever's there be and whatever's not there be. Just notice how your experience has changed over these last few minutes, just noticing it. Noticing how the quality of your experience is different, how it's the same as it was a few minutes ago. This is disidentifying yet again as you simply notice. Beautiful. And now, as you are comparing your current state to your previous state, notice the way that you're doing that. You might be using words, unspoken, but likely in the form of thought. Just notice that. Notice that there are thoughts that just arise out of nowhere. It might be a constant stream. All I'm asking you to do is notice it, not trying to make it any different. A remark about this, a worry about that, a judgment about the other thing. Just notice them. And as you keep noticing, notice how it feels like you're falling deeper in or not. Now, maybe, just maybe, once in a while, you might notice there's a little break between one thought and the next. Not trying to do anything here except just noticing. So imagine that you're a cat who is patiently but very intently relaxed and focused, waiting outside the mouse hole for the mouse, for the thought to appear. Focused, relaxed, noticing. Just noticing each thought that arises. And when there is a pause that shows up, imagine leaning into that pause. As you practice this, the pauses can become more frequent and longer. Simply by noticing them. And noticing when the thought arises and just letting it go, letting it move right on through. And every once in a while, with your intention, with your focus, you'll find your way into a pause in which you kind of disappear. Having disidentified with all of it. Beautiful. Now gently begin to bring air into your nostrils with consciousness, with awareness, and bringing a bit more awakeness back to the body as you slowly, no hurry, bring yourself back to slowly a more alert state. Slowly, there's no hurry. Letting the air invigorate you. Maybe moving your fingers, wiggling your arms or legs a little bit. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come all the way back.